And tonight,
Hello.
Faith has graced us with her presence. So y'all should feel honored that she is taking time away from her domestic engineering to, good evening, Marilyn. How are you? To grace us all with her presence and her beautiful charm and wit and uncanny.
And TD is in his usual form, as you can tell.
What do you mean?
He's in usual form. So,
Welcome to the Beauty and the Beast podcast.
Y'all are in for a good show tonight. He is feeling extra ornery. So,
oh boy. This will be a good one tonight, y'all.
It's going to be interesting.
And we're almost done. The bioweapon plague is almost right when you think it's past. That sucked you back in.
Yes.
So we'll see. But
yes. Yeah, exactly. Curly Q.
What up, Curly Q? It's good to have you back, buddy. You were kind of MIA for a while. It's getting worried.
We got some big things to discuss tonight.
Big.
About the state of affairs of the grocery stores here in the U.S.
Oh boy.
And we're speaking at all levels. So this is kind of, this is kind of a big deal.
Okay, so we'll get on with it,
Well,
Mother.
we're going to get on with it.
We're
We're going to say hi. We're going to chat. We're going to have some small chat for a little bit.
We're going to chit
Hi
chat.
from Alberta. Y'all, your groceries are crazy. That's all I hear is the food in Canada is so unaffordable. It is so unaffordable that even like middle class families are going to food banks and everything up there. That's what I hear is that it is just outrageous.
I heard that Alberta, they refer to it as the Texas of the North.
Yeah, that's what we hear. Yeah. Hey, there's some good patriot people in Canada and Alberta.
Okay, Mother. So let's get into this.
So let's just jump into it. One day last week, I had a big moment.
What happened? Tell us what happened.
That actually encompassed my whole entire day. And I really had a hard time with it, y'all.
She kept texting me. It's kind of funny.
I had a really, really hard time with this. And I know I should have seen this coming, and we all see it coming. But yet when it happens, there's just, I don't know. There's just.
And for men out there, you got to let your women folk like absorb this stuff because, I kept trying to explain to my family, like, yeah, you think it's cool because you can buy stuff at the store. But look, there's coming a day, right? Now, there's coming a day when no heartache shall come. So we're looking forward to that day. But before that day, there's coming a day where if you do not have the proper social credit score, if you do not have the proper carbon score, or you really enjoy nutrient dense protein, there's coming a day when that is not going to be an option, at least from your local grocery store. And you can, we can hold out hope for the mom and pops that may or may not even be left. There are no grocery store mom and pops.
Not where we're at.
Not where we're at.
Not where we are. And I know it's different all over the country. So
and the closest thing we do have to a mom and pop near us is Brookshire's, and the patriarchs of Brookshire's, the family, they were an awesome family, great preppers. Their main headquarters is about an hour, less than 2 hours from here. And these people were ultra salt of the earth, but they sent one of their children. Okay, look, this is the tale of the postmodern world. I'm going to tell you the tale of postmodern deconstructionism. Here's what happens. The parental units send their spawn off to the ivory towers, and they come back CRT, ESG, Element of P, QRST, Transformer,
woke.
Decepticon.
I mean, there's comedy skits written about this.
Yeah,
Like,
now we're living in a comedy skit. Clown
you
World
know,
2.0.
so what happened was one day last week, I'll tell this story. I started looking up I don't remember exactly how it started, but we know the obvious ones that are totally woke, like the tip of the spear ones, like Amazon and Walmart. They're the atrocious. They're heading
Obvious.
the
Yeah.
way, right? They're the ones breaking new ground. And of course, you had Target. I think that's what started it last week. Everybody was wound up about
What
Target.
was funny to me about Target is Target was the absolutely first one in like 2016 with like letting dudes in the women's bathrooms and like having the unisex bathrooms. And I'm like, this is such a like nothing burger. Like this already happened
I
technically.
stopped shopping at Target back when Matt was a baby because at that time they stopped saying Merry Christmas. And back then
How dare you, sir?
we celebrated Christmas, and that was so offensive to me that they wouldn't allow their employees to greet anybody saying Merry Christmas. You could only say Happy Holidays.
And that's some kind of postmodern reconstruction paradigm leverage where like they make the concept of saying Merry Christmas that it's this ultra Christian thing, which it's not.
But I didn't like
the
fact that a company would control somebody's speech, like that you didn't have freedom of speech to say a greeting to people that has been said forever. So I stopped back then. I mean, that's going back to 2005. So that's the last time that I've shopped at a Target. But so then it all came out with Chick-fil-A, right? And it's like, well, of course. I mean, Chick-fil-A was having their gay days and stuff like that way back, like forever ago. It's been a long time. It's been a long time coming.
Funding gay pride stuff.
They had gay festival things, parties and stuff. Ooh. Anyway,
yes.
So
you just reminded me something.
Yeah, before we get kicked off of here. So that just kind of got me thinking, okay, like who else has gone woke, So I just typed in like equity and diversity. You're going to help me with my acronyms because I'm still not up on all the acronyms, but I started looking up, like equity and diversity. What is it called? Whatever.
Yeah, DEI.
DEI.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Come on, if you're going to live in 1984,
it's been a long time.
You have to get all the new speak. All right?
So I'm still learning them, y'all. And so then I looked up Aldi. And yes, Aldi has a diversity, equity, and inclusion, like right on their homepage. They're very proud of.
Speaking of pride and proud, and it is June, I have a verse for the month.
Okay, verse of the month.
Okay, verse of the month, y'all.
Ready.
This is Proverbs 16:18. And now there's going to be some syrupy irony here, so get ready.
Yeah, and be careful with your choosing.
Proverbs 16:18 says, pride goeth before destruction, and an haughty spirit before a fall. So for all of you that have been uncertain about the time of the end, maybe it's July. Okay.
I didn't think that was going to be your verse.
That's my verse.
No, I thought you were going to use the other verse.
No, my verse for the month of June is Proverbs 16:18.
I thought there was a better
pride
verse.
Because it's Pride Month.
I know, but there was a better verse that we did during our devotions. And you were talking about it.
Yes, but
okay, that's too specific.
No, we're going to use this verse for the entire month of June.
Yes.
Pride goeth before destruction.
Okay. That's very safe.
And haughty spirit.
That's a very safe and
then if any of y'all got my eschatological humor there that I inserted that went over most people's heads, you'll laugh later. So watch the replay and you'll enjoy it. Okay. So back to onward with your story, Mother. Yes. Sorry for disrupting.
So Aldi's is down the tubes, right? And then I said, okay, well, how about my local grocery store, which is Brookshire's, which is a chain across, I think it's most of Texas and maybe Louisiana.
Mostly East. Brookshire's is pretty localized to like here.
No,
Uh,
I think there's some in Louisiana.
right. There's some in Louisiana, but East Texas, like if you go south, if you go more than 3 or 4 hours south, there aren't any more Brookshire's.
Right.
And if you go west, there aren't any more Brookshire's.
Right. So, but it's still a pretty big chain. And so it would be like the Piggly Wiggly, y'all. And so I looked it up, and sure enough, they are woke.
DEI.
They gone woke. So I'm like, okay, that's not cool, because I've been like really patting myself on the back thinking I've been skipping out on the Walmart because I've been going to the Brookshire's, and even if I pay a little more money, I don't care. I'm just gonna support my local family business, and they're woke. So then,
and for anybody that shops at Brookshire's, call these idiots. They're letting their kids run the dumb thing into the ground, just like everything else.
So I know Kroger's woke,
and I had big beef with Brookshire's during the whole scammy plammy thing with the mask deal.
Yeah,
anyway,
we'll talk about that experience. So I'm like, okay, I know Kroger's is woke. I know, like, I was just trying to think of the different ones, like Whole Foods or something crazy. Like, I mean, all of that stuff, which is like an hour away from me anyway, and they're all woke. So I'm like,
did
okay.
you check Natural Grocers? I mean, I'm sure they're crunchy and whatnot, so I'm sure they're woke. I didn't check.
You need to stop. There is another little grocery store called Natural Grocer. I am gonna guess that they are.
And now shout out to the Granary. All right. And now that's super local. They only have like 8 or 10 stores. They're absolutely not woke and the absolute opposite. So we can and they sell bulk too. So maybe we'll just stock up more.
Sure.
Somebody's spying on us in the studio.
Yes, we have a little sneak.
Is it Snuggy Boy?
Yeah. So then so this is the height of the say hi. Can you say hi? So this was the height of my disappointment. So then and Granary and Natural Grocer. First of all, Natural Grocer is not in our price range when it comes to like produce and stuff like that.
Well,
that's just not going to happen.
If you don't conform to ESG or carbon footprint, you'll be debanked anyway. So it don't even matter. Like even as long as we're within the modern current economy and it's not completely parallel and barter and community. This is why we keep talking about all this stuff, y'all, because it is coming and the infrastructure is here.
The infrastructure is in place. Yeah. So I looked at Azure Standard, and I'm going to share with you an article from Azure Standard's website from 2014. And you can tell me, I also called and I had a conversation with the lady who answered the phone, and I recorded it. And I'm going to tell you what, the discussion was. And I'm not going to say Azure Standard has gone woke. I'm not going to say that they have not gone woke.
I'll say it's a matter of time.
I'm just going to say
before they make the declaration.
The information out there, and you all can come to your own conclusions on where they are. I mean, and are they any better than shopping anywhere else at this point? I don't know. Maybe yes. Always better than Walmart or Amazon. Always. I mean, Walmart and Amazon, I just feel like should be our last resort. And what I've been trying to do is price things out when I'm going to buy something. And if it makes sense, then, I buy it somewhere else. Even if it's a little bit more, it's fine if it's somewhere else, if it's not going to promote a really nasty agenda. So
that was Brookshire's, yes. Carlos.
Yes. So
they stopped allowing farmers to take
you
the
have
scrap.
the
Yep, I got it right here. I'm going to put it on the screen.
And then
what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it so you can see it better,
Okay.
mama, because you half blind.
Yeah, and I don't have my glasses
I ain't gonna
on.
lie. You want me to read it?
No, I got it. I
Just
can
watch
see it
my
from here.
microphone, baby.
I can see it from here. Okay, so keep in mind, y'all, this article is from 2014,
14. Yep.
and this is on the Azure Standard website. You can still find it there. As I know, you can still find it there. Okay, just as Azure Standard encourages and cultivates biodiverse crops, it recognizes and honors diversity in life as a whole. This is evident in the broad range of Azure's customers. If every Azure customer were asked to describe his or her personal philosophy on food, nutrition, and health, the answers would be as varied as the colors on the spectrum. Factoring in all of life's inputs, environment, social behaviors,
Gang signs, y'all.
religious
What's up?
beliefs,
Gang
physical
signs.
needs,
Flashing the gang signs.
and knowledge, each person melds information to choose the best way forward. Over time, that person's answer to the same question likely even changes, maybe dramatically, as he or she, well, this is 2014, y'all, learns and evolves. My answers could change dramatically on my social behaviors and environment and physical needs. Okay, and knowledge.
Yeah.
In the spectrum of life, there is an infinite number of options. We quickly filter out the obvious unviable ones, then move on to consider those that are potentially available to us. Take diet and nutrition, for example. Two options quite different from each other are the Western price and the vegan raw food movements. At first glance, these two seem diametrically opposed, but they do have commonality. Both agree that nutrient-dense foods is critical for optimal health. Both agree that the modern conventional food system is contributing to the many ills in this world, including the chronic physical and mental disorders and degradation of our planet. Both agree that organic, whole, unprocessed foods offer a life. Oops.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mom.
You shrunk it on me. Okay. Offer a lifeline to better health and well-being. In fact, both sides have a long line of doctors with convincing opinions on the values and benefits of the individual practices. When it comes down to it, the real difference between them is that one emphasizes the importance of diet rich in organic, unprocessed animal fats, and the other, a diet rich in live, organic, plant-sourced foods. No doubt, the merits of each are valid and unquestionably right for those who follow. But say for someone who is morally opposed to eating an animal, the Western price diet would not be viable. Likewise, for someone steeped in rich tradition of hunting or raising market animals, eating only raw plants would not make sense. Neither position is necessarily wrong. In fact, each could be very right for the individual at the moment. What about the folks who have restricted diets or allergies, regardless of the reason for the allergy, leaky gut? Some people simply cannot eat certain things, but they still need fulfilling, nutritious, and balanced diet. So they're making this analogy between diet choices, right? When calculating a mathematical problem with unlike objects, a common denominator is used to derive a solution. In the same in life spectrum, when we look at the commonality of all of our lifestyles,
I know there's so much newspeak interjected into
of
this.
our
I can't buy it.
common
I'm sorry.
denominator, we begin to see truths and solutions. With regard to food and food resources, it's becoming widely understood that the less we process, the less we irradiate, the less we use chemicals, and the more we consume foods closest to the natural states, the better it is for us and the earth. That is our common food denominator. From that, we can move forward together, not as monoculture, but as thriving, diverse base, not regardless of differences, but because of them. We learn from each other and strive for a common goal of optimum health for each of us around the world. This is Azure's goal. And then Azure Standard is committed to providing all manner of products information, highest quality, so we can learn, right? Blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah,
and
blah, blah, blah.
I'll put the link in the live
But
chat.
this
So if
is,
you want
it's
to.
very, very mild. It's, again, this is from 2014, so this is going back 10 years.
Yeah, ton of news speak, y'all. Go ahead, bub.
Yeah,
Go,
you
go.
got to go do
Yeah.
something else.
Love
You,
Bubba.
Bubba. But you can see what the analogy was. This analogy that was put forth was the subject of the article was diversity in community and diversity in
And they
lifestyles, right?
interjected all the social stuff. It's so,
So why would they say that?
living in 2023, it's so obvious what's going on and what they're doing. It's obvious. And within 3 years, it'll be blazingly obvious.
So I called and I spoke to a lady. They answered the phone, and I just blatantly just asked her. I said, look, there's a lot of changes that are happening around our country and, with different companies and everything. And my husband and I are just making some really hard decisions on where we want to put our dollars, and as far as feeding our family and that kind of thing. And I just wanted to call and kind of get it straight from the horse's mouth. Like, where do you stand on diversity, equity, and inclusion? And she said, I don't really understand the question. Can you rephrase it? And I said, well, I'm talking about with all of the different transformer things that are going on across the nation.
All Transformers are Decepticons, y'all.
Yes. And I didn't say transformer. I said the word because I had freedom of speech on my phone.
I say Transformer because
and she said, well,
what they're doing.
Of course, we are inclusive of everybody. And I said, so where you stand on this is that, she said, we're open. And I said, you're open to it, like you're okay with it. And she said, Azure doesn't have any stand, for or against any of that stuff.
And then I said, what if Monsanto identified as an organic compound? No, I didn't say that, but that would have been brilliant, y'all. Wouldn't that have been great? That would have been awesome. I didn't do that.
Would you be for that or against that?
Would you support Monsanto if it identified as an organic compound?
I mean, in some way, I'm like, okay, well, I respect that Azure is not going to take a stand for or against it. Azure is just like, we're just going to sell food. We don't want to be involved in the Politico. I get that if that's what she was saying, but I don't know totally that that's what she was saying. She said, we are open. And I do know that that word open is a new.
Yeah, and there's a ton of new speak in the article, and the article's wide open. And I understand why somebody answering the phone
doesn't want to say, yes,
I totally
of course.
get that.
Of course. You don't want a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, how much can you expect on the phone? This article was just concerning, and I really couldn't find anything else on their website or like on their YouTube channel or anything that was saying where they stood with any of this. So, but my reasoning for it is that there's a lot of people that buy from Azure. We're sincerely looking at, should we be putting our money into Azure standard, and does it make any difference? Or is it just like me shopping at Brookshire's at this point? Is it just like, it's just a littler beast and it's just the same thing, So,
and it's very many moons ago when we started prepping and had prepper friends, we would get together as families and the kids would play and we would pontificate, like, wonder how this is all going to go down. Like, how the beast system implementation, wonder what it's going to look like. And I wonder how it's all going to go down, and then you're like, oh, that's how it's going to go down, and then so they roll out the scammy, plammy ding dong thing on all of us, right? And what was that? That was the test balloon. Hey, can we get all these normie employees? Can we put up some bogus scientism criteria and say somebody's going to hurt grandma and make them enforce, like, people have to wrap stuff on their face and take medical procedures or butt my grandma and all that stuff. And, you just want to kill grandma. That's what's wrong with you, you selfish bigot, you know?
Yep.
And now that worked. And unfortunately, there's as much as we would like to think, and as much as we think we experience that the majority of people, like, we outnumber them.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm really sorry, you know, because we were talking about statistics from today's video, and some people are like, I don't believe those statistics about Gen Z at being cooled with being surveilled. Oh, you don't like, you're detached from reality, because if you're dealing with largely normie people that are super normie, TikToky / regular neighborhood cul-de-sac / even more metropolized areas, they are very much okay with it.
Right.
And they embrace it, and they just think it's so great and cool, and it's kind of unreal.
Vin Lago says, yeah, the Episcopal Church in the U.S. began with using ONA, open and accepting, and ending with diocese splitting in those okay with the agenda and not those. Open is a loaded descriptor. Yeah, she said open. She said, we are open.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
and I said, so are you saying you're accepting? And she said, well, of course we're
and the
accepting of
Episcopals
people.
are cool with women preachers, you know, and now them preachers and all that. You know,
yeah,
so it's par for the course. You know, that's part of the progression, the feminazi progression. You know, this is all this. You know, this is postmodern. This is critical theory. This is critical race. You know, this started like pre-Frankfurt, you know, Jesuit stuff. Right. Postmodern deconstructionism, and this is the fruit, right, and the end result of postmodern.
So I wish I had it. I don't know if we'd be able to pull it up or not, but in the woke, like, there's like 5 points, I think, of wokeism, like the woke definition.
Do you mean diversity, equity, inclusion?
Yes. Or? No, but actually, if you look up woke, like there's like 5 points.
Well, that's an urban slang.
Right. But I like looked it up, and there was like 5. Maybe I did look up. Yeah. Look up diversity, equity, inclusion. Yeah, and then there was probably like 5 points of it. And the one point, I think it was one of the last points of it, was that it blatantly just says that
communism,
any form of Christianity or affiliation with Christianity is like not okay. Mm-hmm. It's like basically anti what they are. So I think that with having these things written into their companies, like protocols and their business, and this is who they are and this is what they stand for, they are in writing, they are already anti-Christian. They are against us already.
Well, their concept of inclusion, what's hilarious, and this is within all the alphabet soup, you know, they use the word inclusion, and they want to include everybody but you bigot. Like, you know, that's what's funny.
Right.
God loves everybody. Well, except you bigot.
Right.
Like, we don't even believe in hell, but you're going to burn in hell.
There's
room.
I mean? There's room for inclusion of everybody, except for the Christians.
But you.
Right.
You know, everybody but the fundamental and the foundational principles that have literally made Western society, you know, postmodern deconstructionism, the systematic, a planned destruction of Western culture, Western capitalism. I can't tell you the enormity of idiotic comments we get about China and how China is capitalist. You know, we live in a postmodern, post-capitalist country when people don't even understand the standard definition of even what capital is.
A lot of times, I mean, this comes back to the universities and what's being taught in the universities. And that's been going on for 25 years or more.
25 years. It's been going on since the late 1800s. Right,
but it's been being pushed since really hard we know of firsthand since we have been there. So they put like any communist country was like put up on a pedestal, like, oh, Cambodia, oh, it's great there. If America could just be more like
Could be more
Cambodia,
communist. It would be
if
great.
if America could just
Look,
be
China's figured it out. They're like
more
this
like
hybrid
China.
capitalist communist country.
Yeah,
No, they're
or
not.
like my stepbrother went to India, and his professor went with him, and just, oh, let's study all of these ways in India, and let's just be more like India. If we could just be more like India, and it's just this, it's what's taught. It's just the way that it is. Let's see if I can find it.
Overtly Christian companies will be debanked. And, they'll be Kanye'd. And I'm not conflating Kanye with Christianity, but we've seen debanking, and we've seen a billionaire that got debanked, right?
It's funny because inclusion says, have everyone's ideas been heard, but the ideas that are not being heard are the conservative.
They want to hear everybody's ideas except yours, you idiot.
Yes. And I can't find it right here offhand. But anyway, when I was looking up the definitions, it just point blank said Christianity or any like affiliation with Christianity was,
and that's obviously
like,
biblical Christianity,
against
not all this postmodern, these woke denominations with transformers and women running everything.
So then my concern is that if all of the grocery stores that are available,
like the Southern Baptist Convention,
to me, all have these policies in place, what is the next step? Like, so is the next step we only allow certain people to shop here that can follow and abide by these policies? And how will that all look? And does that have to do with the social credit score? There's just questions that I've just been asking myself since last week.
And what will happen is, there's going to be some of that, but then ultimately what's going to happen is you're just not going to be allowed in the store, or your funding source isn't going to work.
Right.
It will be a digital transaction. You will not be allowed to transact.
Right. So I wouldn't have had the option to pay anyway.
Right now it appears that we have the option, like, oh, well, at least I can shop at Azure versus Walmart, right? Ultimately, the end game is you won't be able to transact. So it won't matter what choice you make, in air quotes. You know what I mean?
Right. The customer discount card, I told him I could shop at the store that supports child.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They're all, and here's the other thing that I absolutely believe that'll happen. And with some of my like financial prepper, like Chris, I sent him a text the other day. Here's what with these Bud Light protests and Target and all this stuff, what's going to happen? Look, the stock market is going to crash. Shocker. Like, oh, thanks, Notre Dame. The stock market is going to crash. How did you know? But what's going to happen? Sorry, I had to hack out a bioweapon. What is going to happen is they're going to blame conservatives. Well, if you wouldn't have boycotted Bud Light and made the stock price, and then you boycotted Target and you crashed their stock, and basically all you conservatives or you Christians crashed the economy.
And I think that the challenge is, right, for a lot of people is just to kind of throw their hands up and be like, well, of course, they're all woke. Like, what are you going to do? You can't boycott everybody. I'm just going to keep on doing what I'm doing, and it'll just be whatever. It is what it is.
And there's some truth to that. Because it's a squeeze, right? Mm-hmm. And they are all, in it appears, okay, let me say it this way. It appears that they are all going to conform, right? And
on purpose.
Yeah. And much of America has already conformed, right? So they're all going to conform. So to an extent, as long as you can actually transact, soon you will not have a choice. Like if you're like, well, I really do need that, and so I'm going to have to buy it from there because they're the only store within 300 miles of here and they do have it. So, I mean, or it's just like, hey, we're living a more simplified life and we just don't need that thing anymore ever again. And, you know, unless I can whittle it out of a tree branch or, you know,
Right.
self-sufficiently, you know, fabricate it myself here out of all the trash that Faith has made me throw away over the last 20 years that I said, you're going to want a boneyard. You know, you think it's cool and you think you can throw this stuff away, but there's coming a day when I get vindicated. And the terrible part about being right is I'm going to be sitting there in a completely clean boneyard with no really good trash to make really cool stuff out of that we need.
Don't worry, he's got plenty.
All right.
He's a hoarder. He's got plenty of trash.
And then there's going to be, I told you so, but it didn't do me any good because you threw out all my stuff.
It's like he already lived through the Great Depression and he saves everything.
Come on.
He saves everything
like
it's in the Great Depression times. He's
Landfill.
like, no, I can't throw that sock out, even though there's nothing left.
I think it is
sock.
humorous that in the comments, like people literally consider something like a pole shift or supernova. First off, even if a pole shift was going to happen, which it absolutely won't happen. Okay. Same thing with a supernova. It will not happen. Right. But what's happening to Western society? A pole shift or a supernova pales in comparison by a magnitude of 1,000,000, right? And there are people that consider a pole shift or a supernova. Meanwhile, the transformers are taking over and we have to deal with stuff like carbon footprint and carbon credits and like social credit scores and diversified equity inclusion. And somebody's like, yeah, but what about a pole shift? I wish.
Hold on.
I
have to interrupt you for 1 second because Michelle Slack has an excellent idea. And she says that we should not shop anywhere in the whole month of June.
Except at TheTexasBoys.com.
And I'm like, okay. I think that is a wonderful idea. We just all boycott everywhere.
And while we're at it,
for the month of June.
I have my verse for the month of June. Many of you are new to the stream and didn't get to hear it. So my verse for the month of June is Proverbs 16:18. Pride goeth before destruction, and an haughty spirit before a fall. And for anyone that studies eschatology, it's something to consider. Okay, with pride and destruction, just saying July, something might happen, but it won't be a pole shift and it won't be a supernova, but it might get real hot. Okay, so let's continue. I gave another eschatological funny. I think it went right over Carlos's head again, but it's pretty funny. Watch the replay. I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, just the Texas Boys store for June. Sorry, y'all. We don't have produce on the website.
We do have honey money, y'all, and we restocked our gallons, and it's a deal.
It was pretty traumatic for me last week, realizing that all of my grocery stores have gone woke. Like, that is really traumatic for me, just because I take that really seriously. Like,
she's serious, y'all.
Like, the stuff that they're promoting is so vile and so destructive to people. Like, forget children, people. It's destructive to families. It's destructive to our country.
I'm totally over this whole, like, you know, unfortunately in conservatism and even in libertarianism, which I'm probably much more libertarian, this whole, like, the dichotomy between the alphabet and then the child grooming stuff. And like, well, the alphabets can do whatever they want, but, you know, just don't mess with kids.
No.
But they don't procreate.
It all goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it's a chicken and an egg.
It all goes hand in hand. I mean, when we go
it's
back.
not that hard to figure
I
out.
think it was like 3 or 4 years ago, and I took it down. I'm pretty sure I took it down, but our Walmart had a, what do you say? A no gender. It was just like a binary. It was like a right in the front of the store was a, it was called One. No, what was it
Yeah,
called?
that was the Ellen DeGenerate thing.
The Ellen DeGenerate line, and it was
Yeah.
One, and it was this, it was right in the front of our Walmart when you walked in, and it was just androgynous clothing. That's what I'm trying to say.
Christopher, the granary is awesome. Okay, so that's cool that you have a granary near you. I know that they're yeah, and then there was that EV1 thing that looked like
That's what it
evil.
was. Yes, EV1. And then there was like I'm going back maybe like a year ago. I went on to Walmart because I was looking for women's undergarments, and the first thing that came up was a chest binding sports bra.
Puke.
And I was like, what? I'm like, how does that come up? Like, if you type in a
Okay,
sports bra,
let's
that's
talk about
the
this.
first thing that comes up is some kind of chest binding
Okay,
bra.
so now let's talk about this.
That was a year ago on
Okay,
Walmart.
okay,
So
y'all,
this is not new stuff.
And I'm going to teach everyone that's listening to the sound of my voice or watching the replay. I'm going to teach everyone how to be mentally consistent when approaching this topic. And I'm going to explain to you in less than 5 minutes how all of this happened as a gigantic psychological operation that started in the 1800s. And all you have to do is read a little tiny snippet of Velena Blavatsky, Jack, and all her stuff, and all of them, Kathy Baker Eddy, all that stuff. So, supposedly, modern thought tells us that there are pants for women. Okay, right? And it is culturally and socially acceptable for women to wear pants, right? And women can wear pants.
You're gonna get in a lot of trouble
Because they're women. Yeah, and I'm ready. Let's go.
TD.
And these are woman pants,
of
right?
trouble.
I know. And this is like the jazz hot button.
He's
But,
poking.
okay.
He's
So
poking the
I'm
fire.
poking the bear. Okay. So there's this concept by many. There's this concept by the majority, right? That there's woman pants, right? And it's acceptable for a woman to wear these pants because they're pants made for woman. Right? Okay. So is everybody following my logic? We're going to take logic, ration, and reason. We're going to transcend 200 years of recorded history. We might even reference an Elvis song about the gallon britches, and you don't know which is whiches, and you can never trust the gallon britches, and she put on her brother's pants and all that stuff. But we'll ignore that song, right? And now we're in 2023. And so now we're going to talk about men in dresses. Now, currently, the dresses of like all the people that have been put in place in the Biden administration over very like nuclear warfare and, this Surgeon General's assistant, all these men that wear dresses, they currently wear dresses designed for women, right? But very soon, dare I say 2023, dare I say tuck bathing suits, right? Dare I say 2023, now there are dresses designed for men and that are designed to fit men. So these are dresses for men.
It's men's apparel.
So are these not socially acceptable? And
Yes,
why, if Christians can accept woman pants, they are absolutely pharisaical and hypocritical to not accept men's dresses.
Right, of course.
And that is rational, logical, and reasonable. And I hope
and at
that
first,
stirs your brain.
Yeah.
So that you understand that if you want to know how we got here, it's women wearing pants. And I know you think, that's crazy, long shot, you're hyperbolic. but I'm not. If you just study the history of it, if you study why they did it, all the way up to the mini skirt, right, and all that stuff, and now we have men dresses designed for men, and that is wrong. And you are absolutely, that is called cognitive dissonance. If you can think that there's pants designed for women and that they're socially acceptable to Christian people, to Bible believing, Bible following Christian folk, and that you can have and design pants that are for women and acceptable by Christians for women, then there is absolutely no way that you can logically say that men with dresses designed for men, right,
That'll be
aren't
men's clothing.
Christian.
Yep.
Yeah, they're men. It's men's
That's the
clothing.
argument. They say this is women's clothing.
And that, and here we are, 2023. Welcome to postmodern clown world 2.0. And I just gave you a theological lesson as well.
And it'll be shocking in the beginning and everybody's appalled, and then it'll all settle into it, and all the men will be
2025.
I mean, look at where we're at now. It's androgyny, right? And everybody is wearing the same clothing anyway. I mean, you could honestly put on a pair of women's jeans.
Those gay men taper leg jean things.
Nobody would know if you had on women's pants or
I know
men's
lots
pants.
of dudes that wear girl stuff, and it's the same thing.
It's the same. Nobody would even know. It's all shaped the same. So and the t-shirts, it's all the same. So that's where we're at. And I was having a conversation with an elder's wife the other day, and she was telling me about her mother back, I don't know the year, and she said, now this lady is in her 60s, and she said her mother, when she first started wearing pants, she went up north to visit some sisters up in New York, and she got out of the car and she had on a pink pantsuit with like a flowery shirt on. And she said when her mother stepped out of the car, the sisters that were there gasped, and they were like, whatever her name was, I don't remember, Hilda, you got on men's pants. And she said, no, ma'am,
they figured it out back then.
These are ladies' pants.
They were
and
logical,
she's like, and they're like, no, they're not. They are for men. You have on men's clothing.
That's a gal in breeches. Odie, 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 I think you ought to know. Odie, odie, odie. That was an Elvis song, y'all. Talks about the sisters showing up to the country dance in her brother's pants.
Yeah, because
that's
used
a gal
to
in
wear
breeches.
The boys,
and you won't know which is
until they start
just
making
ask
the girls.
Elvis.
So yeah, just ask Elvis. So
Elvis had it figured out.
This is not deep history, y'all. So she said, well, a man would have a hard time wearing these pants because these were made for ladies, and so that's the way it went, right? But my issue is that, okay, we've done that for this period of time, right? Say from the 50s, whatever, when it got really heavy with women wearing pants, right? From the 50s until now. Well, where are we now, right? As Christian ladies, everybody else, it doesn't even matter. The world's going to do the world thing.
Right. And I'm saying, like, because there's people, some people want to go to Leviticus, right? And they want to say a woman shouldn't wear what pertains to a man, and a man shouldn't wear what pertains to a woman. And then people like to scriptural judo that and say, well, do you mix fibers? And so you're being hypocritical. But my point is you do not even, we can approach this from a gender role, right? And it's really strange because of postmodern, and we're in 2023, and we even have to vocalize this notion of gender role. I mean, gender role wasn't even a thing. Like, there's reality, okay? There's man and there's woman. There aren't gender roles because biologically 20 years ago, I was a man, she was a woman. We didn't have to discuss gender. Well, okay, Sally Steamfitter, you got to go pre-World War I and II, okay? But anyway, so you do have to go a little bit further back than 20 years. But This is the systematic deconstruction of the family unit. This is feminazism. This is suffrage, y'all. I hate, man. I know you're going to hit the sacred cow and, Balaam's ox and all that stuff, but, suffrage, oh, my wife has the ability to vote against me. Yay, this is going to make the country
Right.
great.
Well, I think
She can defy me in public.
I think
Oh, I can't wait.
we
This is
can
going to be great.
just say, okay, I did these certain things to a certain point in time, but here we are now. So let's evaluate now. Let's just see let's seek the Lord now. Let's say, Lord, what would glorify you most now? Since everybody is dressed alike, how would you have me to dress now?
Exactly.
Would you want me to change the way that I dress now? Maybe you've worn pants your whole entire life. I wore pants my whole entire life until I got married. I still wore jeans into our marriage, probably 5 years into our marriage.
Sure.
I still wore jeans. I was a cowgirl. I lived in jeans. I only owned jeans. I wore jeans every single day. But when the Lord saved me, I started asking him how he would want me to look, how present myself to the world. And he has shown me little by little over the years how that would best glorify him. And it's just the outside, it's not the inside. But I'm a big believer that the inside should match the outside, and the
And I'm a
outside
big
should match the inside.
believer that the outside corresponds by what's in the inside. That's
Sure.
just a, once again, logical, rational conclusion.
Right.
And the scriptures say, you shall know them by their fruit, and an apple tree bears apples.
Right. And so the other thing that I think has been stripped of us as women in this androgyny and this very casual culture that we live in, where nothing matters, it doesn't matter what you wear, it doesn't matter, if you go to Walmart in your pajamas, nothing matters, it just doesn't matter. Well, I mean, what do you have? You have women that think that they're doormats. You have women that, they're in their jammy pants or yoga pants all day long. They feel horrible about themselves. It doesn't help to elevate the role of the mother in the home. It doesn't help to honor the role of the wife, the woman. When you think back of even 50 years ago or more, the mother and the wife and the woman was a very honorable role. It was very respectable if you went out into public and you were someone's wife or someone's mother or whatever. It was an honorable role. And a lot of that, it came from the way that women presented themselves when they were in public. If you present yourself as very, honorable and delicate and soft and feminine and vulnerable, you have respect in society. You get respect from the men.
If a lot of people talk about this culture war, and what a simple, easy, normal, rational, logical thing is to support and promote women dressing like women, men dressing like men. There the twain shall meet, right?
Mhm.
And not conforming to all this hip hop wankster like Kardashian retardia. That sounds like a t-shirt.
Right.
But somehow we went from
Grocery stores.
DEI grocery stores.
Well, it's cultural. It does tie into
It absolutely
dress and how it is. And, and even men, they were more respectable back then. They had a nice button-up shirt on and a pair of nice pants and a belt, and they were tucked in, and the old-fashioned type of tucked in. And they looked
oh my word.
They looked respectable. You can't even say tucked anymore. Oh my soul. They were respectable. They were honorable. And we have neighbors that are, older generation around us, and that's how they still dress every single day. And they are respectable. Like, it's just, I, as a lady, respect a man that is dressed, that took more than 5 minutes to walk out the front door, that he's not in public in his pajamas or looking sloppy. Like that doesn't glorify anything. That doesn't do anything. Like you can lighten somebody's day. You can bring a smile to somebody's day. When my neighbor shows up and he's in his 70s and he has this nice little shirt on and he's all tucked in and he took some time that morning to comb his hair and look presentable, that lightens my day. That makes me happy. I am happy to see him, and vice versa. If I show up and I'm not in my bathrobe in the front yard, if I have a dress on and I took 5 minutes to wash my face and look presentable and pull my hair back, he's like, "Well, how you doing, lady?" And it's just a different level of respect. I don't know exactly how to say it, but our boys watch a lot of old cowboy shows, and a lot of those things are in there, and it reinforces that those social norms that we have totally lost. Like
Yeah.
just that respect and dignity that people had before.
Yeah. Self-respect, and certainly respect for women as the genteel, as the weaker vessel. Now you're just relieved if a woman doesn't cuss like a sailor and doesn't have ink all over her body,
Right.
flopping out with her sleeves cut off. So everybody sees her ink, her pagan ink. And somebody needs a Bible verse on why you shouldn't paganize and ink change the skin that God birthed you with, why you shouldn't have ink all over you.
Right. I think that
Ugh.
we've just been sold a bill of
Or
goods.
ear gauges.
I think we've just
or
been sold this. It doesn't
bull
matter.
loops in our noses so we can look
Yeah.
like
And
what I
if you
find
think it
hilarious.
matters, then you're just
What I find
a
hilarious with
Pharisee.
face tackle is used by herdsmen to control their cows. And there are human beings that'll put face tackle in their face, and they're literally showing that they're in bondage to Satan because they got face tackle in. They want a nose ring, so that way you can put a rope in there and lead them to the water trough or to the slaughtering hole or whatever. It's unreal, y'all.
See you,
It's
Curly
unreal.
Q. Go
I
take.
gotta check Curly Q. I gotta go to bed, man. I gotta sleep off the bio weapon, and I got one more round of horse paste, and I'm gonna be back on top. So
I'm on day 3
yeah.
of my. No, I got sick on Sunday, but I'm on day 3 of my horse paste, and I'm feeling way better today. Way, way better. I cleaned the office. I cleaned the pantry. So I'm doing way better. Yesterday I was wiped out. I was like on the couch for most of the
This
day.
morning I was bad, man. I crawled to work, and I'm feeling pretty good now. But I gotta go to bed. It's after 9, y'all. David the Good, thanks for hanging out.
John the Baptist.
I hope you got to listen to all of our rantings and ravings and ramblings.
I don't think we're gonna take fashion tips from John the Baptist. I think, when you speak of social norms, I think you have to speak within the realm of where we are, like as far as North America, South America, even. Like you can kind of take like European, first world type countries, and you can say, okay, this was our norm for this many years. We can't take like a worldwide.
David, we're praying for your family. I saw the post about your family and the loss, and that's tragic. We're praying for you, man. But we're gonna jump off. Texas Mom ain't gonna be able to go down any more rabbit trails because it's after 9. And we got littles to put to bed. Thank all y'all. And hey, if any of y'all just jumped on, I think you're gonna love the conversation. Definitely go back.
It was about groceries, y'all.
It was about groceries, and it was about Elvis, and it was about pants.
No, he got us
and
on
gender roles.
He started it.
So
he started it.
So check it out. All right. This is the kind of hard hitting real life that we bring you. Okay. So
You never
we
know.
love y'all.
You never know where it's gonna
You
go.
never know what you're going to get. It's like a
Oh, my
box of
soul.
chocolate. All right. We'll see y'all. Have a great night.
Have a good night.
Yes, Chris. Faith is Texas Mom.
Yes.
So that's her YouTube handle. So there you go. Now you know. All right. See y'all. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye-bye.